Hello and welcome to the Sound Lab podcast interviews. Unedited on today's show, interviews from the Ting Tings, Cliffords, Ron, Sexsmith, Finch, and we also throw back in time to 2000 Trees Festival 2019 to chat to the band A. So let's crack on, shall we, and play you our first interview from the Ting Tings. They've got a brand new record out now, and we had a little chat with them all about it. So, the Ting Tings, how are you?
We're good.
We're good. It's not too early in the morning, so we're fresh enough to have a chat.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And after this interview, we'll be playing a new single of yours called Dreaming. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
It's the second single off our new record that we recorded over the last 3 years or so. Yeah, the dog's barking, sorry. And we were inspired really by a lot of our all-time favourite bands like Dire Straits, Bread, Supertramp, Steely Dan, Fleetwood Mac. And we wanted to write a record that was really based around all our instrumentation, piano, acoustics, electric guitar stuff, plugging, play. So we dropped laptops, we dropped all our kind of technology. As a band, we'd go out as a duo and we used a lot of loops and stuff like that. And that kind of energy. And we wanted to steer clear of that. So we bought a tape machine, we bought old desks and, that classic kind of wood studio environment, and made a record that surprised ourselves how good we thought it was, and how much it meant to us. We became a family. So there was a lot going on in our lives writing this record. And in anything like that first record we had back in 2008 was so successful. I think the connection is that when, particularly for me and Kay, we have to write our hearts on our sleeves. It meant so much, that first record, to us, because we'd been through so much to get to that point. And I think that relays to the audience. And in many ways, although it's a completely different genre or sound, this record, I think we've gone through a lot, and to this point we had a lot to say naturally, and it came out on this record. So again, it means not that our mid records, this is our fifth album, it's not like they didn't mean a lot to us, but you just, as writers, we've been writing together for 22 years, you just instinctively know when things are rolling out of you and not being squeezed out of you because you're trying to fill the gaps. You're trying to write, it's just like flowing out of us, and this record has got to that place, including the way we're releasing it.
Yeah, good. And we'll touch on your first record a little bit later on, but I want to stick to Home, which is the name of your new record, which is out 6th of June. The sound that you made with this record, is it the sound that you wanted, or is it kind of just how it turned out?
Well, it's music we've been listening to our whole lives. And I just think as we've got older and evolved as writers, I just feel like we couldn't have written this album at any other point in our lives. It's like love and loss and everything in between, and it's real storytelling, good old-fashioned songwriting. And I don't know, I think, yeah, it is kind of the sound we wanted. We was quite particular. We made like a big mood board of everything that we loved, and had the Carpenters on there, and it had Joni Mitchell, and it had Christopher Cross and all these amazing artists, and the look and feel that we wanted, and we kind of stuck to it. If something didn't really feel like it was in that mood, we didn't work on it anymore. So yeah, I think it was something we aimed for.
And the tracks and the bits that you've just mentioned there that didn't make the record, what happens to those now? Do you consider them next time around, or will you kind of bin them off and start again?
If I'm being honest, I can barely remember these. We're rehearsing for shows. We're doing, we've been playing some shows and we're doing more shows. And we go to rehearsals and I can't remember the lyrics for this album, let alone remember songs that didn't make the album. Seriously, I'm the world's worst lyric memorizer, I guess is maybe the word. So
play every instrument on it. Yeah. So he remembers all those. I show all the musicians every single part that they need to play, and they'll be like, oh, I can't remember my lyrics.
But I can't remember the songs that make it. They obviously weren't good enough. But no, we're not very good at banking B-sides, if you want, or ideas that don't make albums. We tend to sort of just lose drives. I mean, we've got a history of doing that. We're not very good. Once we've got something we love, we're all about that, and we've found it, and that's what we're doing. I think everything else just gets lost in transport and translation. There's loads of equipment that we're still going, where did we put that amazing thing that we used? I have no idea where it's gone. We'll find it one day.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, 5 records in now, how have you and how has the music evolved over those years?
I think we're more secure in ourselves, and we're quite fiercely independent now. We've been on both sides of like the music industry. In effect, we've been major record label for 2 albums, and then our third album, we kind of felt we kind of sacrificed that. It was a great album, but we kind of sacrificed it a bit to figure out how to become independent because we just didn't function that well. We have like a pop sensibility to some of our writing, but we don't function in that pop world. We take 4 years to make albums, and we're a couple, and it's our lives, and we now have a child, and so I think we're much more comfortable in our own skin, and I think we call this album home because we feel like we've really landed on the type of music that we want to grow old writing. We don't care about trying to be cool or do the hippish new video, or we just want to make good old fashioned kind of songwriting and get old writing that.
Yeah, so sounds good to me. And I like to talk about the writing side of things. So for you guys, how do the tracks normally start off?
Wow, it doesn't. There is no real formula that we follow each time. Across the 5 albums, it's changed in all so many ways. So, in every single way. So it could be an idea that's written on an acoustic guitar, sitting in a front room, bouncing off each other. An idea that one of us have got on a little dictaphone at walking down the street. Kate might be humming something or a line or something. An idea that we've got on a laptop because we found a little keyboard sound that we really love. An idea that we're working on a big old desk because we're excited about the old analog and we've got this great little sound coming through on an electric guitar or an amp and a mic, or even me sitting on a drum kit playing. They come from anywhere between the two of us. The one thing that we do is just share the moment. One of us will be excited about a lick or a groove or a lyric or a phrase or a melody, and we're in it. We'll be working on that. It could be just sitting around a dinner table, just talking about the idea, and all of a sudden we've kind of conjured up the lyric or the thrust of the lyric. Or it could be independently, one's over one way, one's somewhere out, that we're driving to this idea. But effectively, there's always a point where we kind of crush it together and it starts to make sense when we're flushing it out between us. So there really isn't, I mean, literally, safe to say I'm a better guitar player than Katie, but that doesn't mean Katie wouldn't be writing an idea on a guitar. It's not always, you know what I mean? It's like one day she'd be doing something and it'd be brilliant. And same with me on maybe a keyboard or something. So there really aren't any rules. I honestly mean that. I can't remember any one kind of thread that's happened through the 5 albums.
I will say that we've learned,
consistent.
because now we have a little girl that's 5. We work so much more because we only have a certain amount of time to be in the studio. Otherwise, poor little thing's got to wander around waiting for mummy and daddy all the time. So it shocked me how better we worked, like over a few hours, where something that would take us like 2 weeks at the studio. I feel like we're more guided and more precise when we do go in the studio. It really means more because we know we have just a few hours to be in there. So it's taken us 4 years to make it because we literally had her and made this album all around it, and it's all intertwined. But yeah, I think we learned to work kind of smarter, no, in the studio.
Yeah, good. And you've mentioned that you've been on the road and doing some shows. How have they been?
Fantastic. We did 2 sellout London shows about 3 or 4 weeks ago at the Bush Hall, which was really nerve-wracking because first time I've come off my drums. As a duo, we have like loops and pedals, and I go on drums and play instruments, and Katie sings and plays guitar. That format's gone. We've got 9 players on stage. Again, we woke up wanting to be the Eagles on this record, and we've always loved these bands, and we always thought, God, it's such a shame there isn't enough of that going out there mid writing this album, that we had to take it live in that direction. There was no way we were going to take this body of work and put it like on a loop pedal or scream around the stage like we do on That's Not My Name. So we brought in 7 musicians that play for some amazing bands like 10cc, ELO, and a whole host of other phenomenal groups. And we sent them our album and they all loved it. So bass player, guitarist started arriving and we started rehearsing with them. Me on guitar and acoustic and vocals. I've got a bigger vocal role on this album. And there was no going back from that moment. We had a 2-week rehearsal in a studio in Spain with these amazing musicians playing this album, and it blew our minds. It was like, this is how it must have felt for having a proper Congo player, percussionist on stage and a proper drum on stage and a proper bass player on stage and we've got 3 guitars on stage. We've got like those proper layers that you would see in an old Eagles piece of footage. We were living the dream, and we did that for 2 weeks, and we had the most amazing fun. We did some recording, and then everyone left, and we sort of sat down and went, "Oh, how are we going to put 9 people on the road?" As you know, it's a big feat to do to put that many people, and not many bands can afford it or can sustain it. And then we booked these shows, and we went to London. And importantly, we play "That's Not My Name," "Shut Up and Let Me Go," "We Walk." What are the other two?
Be the One.
Be the One and
Great DJ.
Great DJ, which are 5 tracks from the first album. So we knew we wanted to make sure that the audience enjoyed the set and not just promoting a new record. So many times we go to bands' shows and they're just all about their new record and they forget to play some of it. Can't play every song, obviously, but so we adapted those in this new style. We kind of rehearsed them in a way that they felt like they were part of this new record. And that was amazing. So like, "That's Not My Name" sounds like it's a proper country blues song, really, when you break it down on acoustic. And we did a version of Shut Up and Let Me Go, which is very Carpenters. And it worked brilliantly. So the gigs were, I guess they were an absolute, we need to be doing this. So booking more, we're coming back to London on Saturday. We're playing Manchester. We haven't been back there for 8-9 years or something. So that's exciting. We're doing Maid of Vow. So yeah, I mean, and the Portuguese Foster was all coming together with a 9-piece band. I mean, holding them together is hard.
You have to kind of move slow because, yeah, it's a big kind of deal trying to get us all in a room, isn't it? Like rehearsing for 4 days before something. It'd be amazing if next year we can like roll it out over festivals, and then we're really rolling. And yeah, that's the dream.
But it is fascinating that when you go out as a duo and you sort of want to like a mini little, you can play anywhere. It's so easy to set up the two of us. When you're in a big band, you do think differently. I can't explain it. You've all that footage of those older bands back in the day, Steely Dan, and the way they had to all communicate and play together, and there's friction, there's lots of people. That's here. It's a really rewarding place to be. I mean, I don't think that we could ever go back to just us two being on stage. It'd be a lonely place.
Nice, yeah, good. And you've only got a couple of dates left in the diary booked at the moment. Are you hoping to add some more this year?
Yeah, I think we just done an Ibiza show, which was amazing. It was just in like a little roadside blues bar, and again, it was more to like just kind of create the right feel around what we're doing. And I personally think if we like aim for like festivals next year and we do like one-off shows like all autumn, over the winter, spring, I think that's probably the best route for us. But we don't know. We're just trying to get it moving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said we would touch back on your first record. We started nothing. When you look back on that now, do you kind of, when you're writing now, do you think to yourself that you're trying to hit the heights of what the first album hit, or are you in a stage now where you're just writing for the fun of it and there's no pressure because you've had a #1 here in the UK, for instance? You're just going to do what you enjoy.
Well, I think we went through that pain barrier for a couple of albums after it. You try not to, but you do, and it's so intoxicating being on tour. And it's weird, that record, because it just blew up everywhere around the world. So we toured for years, really, with people still discovering that song. We'd do South America, and then they'd be like, "Oh, it's going really well now in China," like 2 years later. And it was an amazing record that took us all around the world. And yeah, it was a little bit. It was, I think, not trying to aim for the same hit, but just trying to, I don't know, we kept feeling like we wanted to be relevant and stay relevant, and that really affects how you write. And I really feel like on this album, it's the first time in a long time where we can really honestly say, like, we had a child, we didn't even know if we would tour or do anything as the Ting Tings again, so we just wrote songs for the love of songwriting, and that's really truly what we love more than anything. We weren't interested in being celebrities, terrible on red carpet, love doing shows and living in the studio, which is what we basically do. And we've had a blessed life because of that first album, but I feel like we're in the best place now since then.
Yeah, great stuff. And when you look back on the tracks like That's Not My Name and Shut Up and Let Me Go, two of the ones where you listen to it and you go, I know that song. Did you realize when you were writing it at the time that they could potentially become hits, or was it a complete
Well,
surprise when they did?
I didn't know. I didn't, and I was I've been in bands before, and I've been working really hard to live in music. And at that point, I was pretty fried. You know, we were just on the eve of putting that record out. We didn't even know how we were going to put it out, but it was seeking out into, you know, the various underground scenes of Manchester, and we were broke. And you know, I love what I do, but I didn't, you know, I'd lost faith in the means, you know, the way to support yourself. Business is just bloody incredibly hard and now to branch off a bit with new artists, I just don't know how, you know, when you come into the industry now and you think about there's nowhere to make any money, like venues don't exist as many more. You can't make money on record sales, even if you sell 100 records, there's nothing in it anymore. It's just like give away everything. And I feel really sorry for young, because I value art. I always think there should be some type of price to any art that somebody gives out. And of course, we're living in a different world where it's just like flood the internet or flood social media with everything you've got. See if you can get some feedback. That saddens me for new artists. But at the time, That's Not My Name, we finished the record. I was already going through that process of, you know, things are not fair anymore. You know, that kind of bewildered artist thing. Well, Katie was much more positive. She was like hearing the music that we'd just put
It
down.
gave me goosebumps, and I was like, "Oh, I just didn't fully understand." And whenever we performed it, even just in our little living room in front of like three friends, their jaws would just like hit the floor, and they'd be like, "Guys!" Like one tried to buy because you had a broken cymbal and we couldn't afford another one. One friend was like, "I'll buy us another cymbal."
Yeah,
Jules.
it's
I'll
kind
buy
of
you a
weird. Yeah.
cymbal, like just anything to like help get it moving. So I sensed it, but obviously I didn't realize it would go huge. But I knew it had something about the track that gave me goosebumps.
And again, we were writing that first record came from a real honest place. You know, we'd gone through much. We were artists that had been dropped and da da da. We thought we were kind of, you know, damaged goods, if you want, and we weren't going to get another chance to get out there and couldn't get a gig. And so there was all these mixed emotions in writing that. And I think that whole feeling that I was feeling dismayed about everything was getting into the record on my side of it. But I was over. I was like, this is nuts. This doesn't make sense. And I think with this record, we're in the same place, even though it's a different record. But I think we are in a very honest place with this record. We've got a lot to say.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with the Ting Tings to talk about their new record, which is out now. Now, we are all over social media, so come and find us at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. And you can also check out the website at thesoundlabuk.co.uk. Now, while you go and follow us on all those socials, we're going to play you our next interview from Cliffords. They've got a brand new EP out now, and we had a little chat with them all about it. So, Cliffords, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks so much. So after this interview, we're going to play a new single of yours called My Favourite Monster. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
Oh yeah, well that's one of the big songs off the EP. Yeah, we wrote that about probably around this time last year, I'd say. Iona came in with it to rehearsals one day. And it was one of those ones that just kind of came together really quickly. Like she had the basic chords down, she had the lyrics ready to go. So we just got in and about one or two rehearsals, like the bones of the song you hear now were basically the same. Then yeah, it just kind of become this big thing now, I guess.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that's off your new EP, Salt of the Lee, which is out now. For those who've not had a chance to take a listen, tell us a bit about the release.
Yeah, well, it's a second EP. We recorded it with Richie Kennedy in Battery Studios, which was like an amazing experience. Which is a great producer, so he was able to really got the songs before they were recorded, and we share a very similar vision. Yeah, with this EP, we just really wanted a bit of a kind of an EP because we had our first EP, which is a really kind of special EP for us. It was quite nostalgic, and it was all about kind of our childhood and growing up in Cork. But with this one, we wanted something with a bit more edge, and really kind of capture we're all feeling right now, just kind of in our early 20s, finishing up college. That was kind of growing up and like just being around Cork. So that was kind of the idea with this one, yeah.
Nice. And the sound that you made with this EP, was it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of just how it
Yeah.
turned out?
No, absolutely. Yeah, we were really aiming for just like get Harry's guitars a bit dirtier, a bit more aggressive. Obviously, we still have, you know, the quieter moments, which we love to have, but there's just a bit more oomph to it or something, which is really what we wanted to achieve with this EP. So I think we did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think you've now found the sound that you want to create going forward, or is there more scope for you to try things and see
No,
what works?
I don't think we're ever gonna settle, honestly. Like it's a conversation that we have at least once a week about how we want to improve. Like it's definitely a good foundation for how we want to keep going, but like we're always trying new things. We're always trying to explore different ideas and like push ourselves into the next kind of what our next sound could possibly be. And like, you know, we still don't know. It's still early days. I think it's a good indicator, definitely, but no, I don't think that's our sound. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And let's talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you guys, how do the tracks normally start off?
Well, we try and approach it differently with each track. That's really important for us. Like I'm a firm believer in if we approach each song the same way, then we're going to keep writing the same song. So yeah, we have a lot of different approaches. It could be Iona coming in with lyrics, or a melody, even like just like Dungarvan Bay was literally, she had the melody in her head, and we kind of just built it around that. Or Harry could have a riff on the guitar, or I can have a progression. Yeah, and these days, like recently, we've been writing a lot of acoustic stuff. Like we're all just in the room together on acoustic guitars, and I'm on piano, and Gab's playing trumpet or bass, or a guitar even. And I think that's a really nice way to write, because we really get to kind of focus on the harmony side of things before we make it, you know, before we dirty everything up and add a bunch of, you know, pedals onto Harry's guitar and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. And you've got some touring coming up. You've got some festivals and some shows coming up. But you can't wait to be doing those.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're like this has kind of all happened in the last, I'd say, 4 months. It's just been because we played a lot of shows before, but most of our shows were in Cork. Like we couldn't get a gig outside of Cork. Like we couldn't get a gig in Dublin for ages, and now we just came off our UK tour. We're doing all these festivals, like we're playing Glastonbury, which is like one of my biggest dreams, and our biggest dreams as a band to play. Like we're doing Transmit, we're doing like I can't even remember all the ones we're doing. It's just like such a fever dream right now. It's exhausting, but it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got Why Not on their Latitude, and I'll be seeing you at Truck Festival as well. So we'll have to meet up when
sure.
when we're there. But that kind of covers the summer months up until the end of August. What's the plan for later this year into the autumn and winter time?
Autumn and winter, I don't think we'll be slowing down on gigs. We haven't announced anything yet, but we're definitely going to keep that up. But a big thing for us is just keep writing. Like these days, in between all these gigs, it's hard to find like dedicated patches of time to just write, which is, you know, one of the most important things for us. So yeah, hopefully once kind of the summer slows down a bit, we'll just really be able to get in rooms together for longer periods of time. So that's the main focus, and just keep working on the next projects.
Yeah, sounds good to me. And are you hoping to go maybe over to mainland Europe or over to the States at some point?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As like nothing announced yet, but yeah, it's love to just, I mean, see as many places as we can and play as many new venues that we can. Like Europe is definitely like something we want to do, and I don't think it's like it seems relatively doable soon. So yeah, definitely on the cards.
Yeah, it's probably easier for yourself who's over in Ireland compared to us here in England.
Yeah.
And I'd like to find out, as you guys are fairly new to the music world, I'd like to find out how you guys got together and what made you do this music in the first place.
Yeah, so basically the band, so Iona and Gav met when they were in school, and they started playing together with their old drummer, and that was when they were about 17, I believe. So they were going for a couple of years. They weren't playing gigs or really, they were writing a bit of music, but it was mostly just doing covers in a garage. Um, and then in 2022, they played Battle of the Band, which is like their first proper gig. And that's when they got Harry in on guitar. And I actually lived with Harry at the time. We were in a different band, and Harry played with them for about a year. And then we were actually at my birthday party, I think, in 2023, and we were quite we'd had a good few pints. And Harry's like, "Oh, I think the Cliffords could use some keys." And I was like, "Well, I play keys. Get me in." So yeah, so it's been this lineup with the four of us for 2 years now. Yeah.
Nice. And you must have some aspirations of things you want to achieve as a band. If you had to pick one thing
Yeah.
that you have to do, what would it be?
Ooh, honestly, an album. That's the big one. Yeah. It's pretty daunting, but that is kind of such a big thing, and to have like a body of work like that would be incredible. So that's something we're all working towards.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Cliffords to talk about their brand new EP. Now, we also have a Spotify playlist where we bring you 150 brand new up-and-coming artists that we feel you might just enjoy yourselves. You can find links to our fresh playlist on our website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, or just search Fresh by The Sound Lab on Spotify. Now, while you go and do that, we've got a new interview from Ron Sexsmith. He's got a new album on the way. It's coming out in August, and we had a little chat with him all about it. So, Ron Sexsmith, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, great to hear. So after this interview, we'll be playing a new single of yours called Don't Lose Sight. Tell us a bit about the single, first of all.
It's a song that I was working on way back in the early 90s, to be honest with you, but I could never finish it. But I thought it had kind of potential, And, I just last year at some point when I was putting this album together, I was reminded of it and I started playing it around the house, and all of a sudden I figured out what needed to happen, And I needed to get rid of the second verse and go right to the bridge and then come back, And sometimes things don't generally take that long, but this time I finally figured out what my problem with the song was, and came up with a structure that I think worked. And I was so excited because I always liked the song, and I knew that it could be a good sort of lead track of this album. It's basically a love song.
Yeah, nice. And as mentioned, it's off your new album, Hangover Terrace, which is coming out August 29th. What can we expect to hear on the record?
Well, I worked with producer Martin Tereffi, who's done 3 of my previous records. Some of my favorite albums that I've done have been with Martin, and I just really like his approach. It's very free. He brought in some great musicians, so it's a very kind of electric album. It's very, I think, upbeat in general. I think lyrically it's maybe a little darker than some of my previous albums, the recent albums. But I don't know. It's still early days. I'm just really, really, digging the way it sounds. I think we got a really good groove overall. I think I'm singing pretty good on it for my age and everything. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So.
Good. And the sound that you made with the record, is it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of how it turned out in the studio?
Well, it's always a little different than, when I flew to England, I was thinking about the album, what kind of album we were going to make. And you really can't, with Martin, it's hard to know because it's, especially at his studio, East Coast, because there's so many musicians hanging around that every day some other musician walks in and ends up playing on your record. It feels like a commune or something. So I didn't really know, I didn't have any ideas of how it should sound. I just knew that it was going to be, I knew that Martin really loved the songs and that he was bringing in some great players. So after that, all you can do is just hope that, some magic happens, I guess. And we were working really fast. We were doing 3 songs a day, because we only had the musicians for 5 or 6 days or something. So we had to get that down, and then that was the big relief once we got the basic tracks down, and then we could sort of do all the fun stuff.
Yeah. And I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto this record. What happens to those now? Do you consider them again down the line, or we bin them off and start again?
Yeah, almost every album I've done, there's been a song or two that was like an orphan, from a previous record that didn't make it on. And usually there's a reason why I didn't make it on at the time. And and you find a home for it eventually. The last record, Vivian Line, I had a song on it that I wrote back in 1988 that I never found a home for. So it's just I try to keep I don't throw anything away, because you never know
Mm.
if this song will come in handy someday. Like I say, Don't Lose Sight. Also, there's another song on this record called Camelot Towers that I demoed for my second album, but it never made it on a record till now.
Yeah, fair enough. And I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do the tracks normally start off?
It's just I write by myself, so generally I'll have I write mostly when I'm walking around or cutting the grass or something. So generally I'll get a melody going in my head, and then sometimes I'll get there'll be some lyrics attached to that, maybe a line or two, and I start to kind of see. You can see a song taking shape or forming, and and then it's really at that point it's just a matter of making a mental note of it, and then I have to keep sort of returning to it and trying to get a little further with it. So, but all the songs, they begin these little fragments, and six or seven, and then you start to see an album kind of forming. It's very exciting. When you're a writer, that's what you get excited about. So, and these songs were written mostly over the last year, and I didn't know who I should work with. There were a bunch of other songs that I ended up kind of putting to the side because they weren't, I don't know, they weren't strong enough or whatever. But this batch, I think Martin helped me sort of zero in on what the album was, or what the sequence should be and all that.
Yeah, of course. And you've been writing and releasing music since the mid 80s. How has the music evolved over those years?
Yeah. Well, those are my first attempts. I mean, my first proper album didn't come out till 95 or 96 in the UK. But I think it's changed a lot because, troubleshooting, for example, before I would have these songs, I would get stuck on, like Don't Lose Sight. I didn't know how to finish it. I didn't have the tools or something to figure out what was wrong with it. And now I think I do. After doing so many albums, I can sort of hear a song like, oh, that's a weak second verse, or I need to get to the bridge faster, or it's just things that you learn just from experience, just from doing it. And so I think that's just happened organically. Also, I just think I'm singing much better than I used to. It took me a long time to be happy with my voice. I think it was like about my seventh or eighth album before I felt I was singing any good. So I wish it would have happened sooner, because now I'm old but anyway, yeah. So it's just like I've learned a lot. I'm a good study. I have so many heroes, songwriting heroes that I've just learned from and got ideas from, and so I just think it's been a natural progression to get to this point now.
Yeah, nice. And you've done a couple of shows already this year, but you've got a lot more coming up. I bet you can't wait to be kind of properly on the road again.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a little stressed about it too. I mean, I was looking at my itinerary, and I'm tired already thinking about how tired I'm going to be, because it's a lot of traveling is tiring. I mean, I love the performing part, but getting to the gigs, and there's a lot of stress because people pay money and they get babysitters, and you want to put on a good show and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm excited because when you're on tour, you can't do anything else. So it kind of frees you up, really. You just sort of, I got to be in Philadelphia tomorrow, and then it's just a matter of getting there. Every show you cross it off. Okay, that went well. Okay, on to the next show. So there's a kind of I like that aspect of touring. like when you're home, there's all this stuff you got to do, and most of it's not fun, like yard work and things like that. So when you're on the road, it's just like, well, this is who I am. This is what I do. So yeah, I just hope we get some good crowds and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you've done a show over here a couple of days ago. Are you hoping to add some more UK dates at some point?
Yeah, we're looking at the spring of 2026. Because I played the UK last year and the year before, I just don't want to wear out my welcome. So so we're looking next year UK and Europe, maybe some other places too. So this year, I mean, also America. I mean, my permit is still valid, so we want to play America this year. And so hopefully we won't have any troubles at the border there, with all the stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So. But yeah, by the end of it, I can see touring this album right up into next summer, just the way it's going. So
nice. Is there anywhere that you've not been to before that you want to go and play at some point?
Probably. Although there's a lot of places that I haven't been to in a long time. Like I haven't been to Japan in over 10 years or Australia in over 10 years. So I'd love to get back there. There's still places, in Europe that I haven't been, like to Poland and places like that, Eastern places, but I don't know if anyone would come see me there anyway. Yeah, I'm a nervous traveler too, so I don't, it takes a lot to get me on an airplane and all that sort of stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, there's definitely some places that I haven't been to in a long time that I hope we can get to again before I drop dead. So.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Ron Sexsmith to talk about his new record, which is out in August. Now, if you are enjoying these interviews, then we also have these interviews on our international radio show. It brings 2 hours of interviews, new music and live sessions to the world of radio. And if you want to take a listen to that show, then head to our website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk, and click on International Radio Show. Couldn't be more simple. So while you go and do that, we're going to play you our final new interview, and it comes from Finch. We had a chat with them at Slam Dunk Festival just a couple of weeks ago, and this is what they had to say. So, Finch, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
Our pleasure's all mine. You're here at Slam Dunk.
Allegedly, yes.
Yes, you are. You are. I'm telling you. You're here.
I'll take your word for it.
How's your day going? How's your weekend planning?
Everything's been amazing. We all got into London last night. We had a lovely day romping around London. We just got into, are we in St. Albans? Is this where we're at?
Close enough, yeah.
Close enough. Got in this morning. It was good.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Good. Leeds tomorrow.
Happy to be here. Happy to go to Leeds. That's been a minute.
Yeah.
I bet it'll be even rowdier in Leeds. It tends to, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
How's the set list? Is it easy to put together as well?
We kind of know what the UK fans want to hear, which is generally what is to burn, but we're going to dig a little deeper this time and dig out some new songs. Cheeky Bum. Nice. Right there.
Yes. Little slip.
It's a lot of Cheeky Bum right there. Wow. And then we're going to play 2 new songs too.
Ooh.
We've been doing the reunion thing for a couple years now, and any time that we kind of get together and rehearse, there's always kind of an idea that starts to kind of simmer a little bit, and these are 2 songs that I think really kind of sum up maybe the direction we're going to go. If there's another Finch record, this is kind of a good taste of what you might hear.
So you're going to see how they go down, and then that decides whether there's going to be a new record or not. Is that right?
Yeah, so
it's on us, is it?
If London thinks it's shit, if London thinks it's bad, sorry, and Leeds thinks it's even worse, then you'll never hear him again.
Damn it. Yeah. Done.
Yeah, that'll be it. Well, we're just going to go to bed. That's it.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not going to be the case. I'm sure they're going to love it. So the direction that you are going in with new music, was it the plan to do that, or is it kind of how it's turning out?
It's just how it turns out. It's hard to kind of think ahead, plan ahead, or do anything that feels unnatural. It's just sort of, when like the universe just gives you that little idea, you just kind of have to take it and run with it. And that's what we've done. We'll see where it turns up. Like, it's only 2 songs, so like, who knows what else may happen. But it's cool. It's definitely for like maybe fans of Sunshine. Like, that record's a bit polarizing. People that love it seem to like really love it. There's not many of them.
But you don't care.
You just have to. I mean, you have to make art and you have to make music for love, right? And
You got to do what you enjoy.
exactly.
And then hope others enjoy it too.
Exactly. If you're doing it just for commerce, then it just doesn't feel right. At least for me, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And at my age, which is I'm fairly advanced, like I just want to do music for love now, you know.
Yeah.
So-
Do it for the fun. Otherwise, you're just gonna
Yeah.
wilt away, aren't you?
Exactly.
So, and when it comes to the writing side of things, how do the tracks normally start off?
Myself, Randy, and Nate are probably fair to say the principal songwriters in the band, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. You know, you may just like plug in and check an amp and like play something accidentally, and someone goes, what is that? And then it, you know, builds and grows from there. You know, you have to kind of prune the ideas and kind of see where it goes, and then sometimes it just, you know, you wake up and it's humming in your head. You know, so it's just wherever the universe decides to kind of give it to you. You just have to make sure you're listening, right?
Yeah. And is it a fairly collaborative approach when you go in?
Of course. It's not a Finch song, whatever that means. Whatever it means to be a Finch song, it's not a Finch song if the five of us haven't influenced it. You know, like I can come in. You know, it's so easy nowadays to sit at your laptop and like create this magnum opus, but it's just one person, you know, and it's just a singular sort of vision, and I find that to be rather boring. Like, I kind of hate my own songs, but sometimes when I give it to the guys and they find their little nuggets, and then it turns into a Finch song, you know. And I would say it's the same for Randy. Like Randy, like when I say magnum opus, like literally every song is like John Williams meets Hans Zimmer. Like he just takes it so far, and it's like, what are you doing here? But then you can sort of like reel it back,
Yeah.
and it becomes a Finch song, you know.
Yeah.
Nate's songs are always like fairly like hard edged and like fairly heavy, which isn't really Finch. Like Finch is a little heavy, but then it comes through our filter and then it becomes a Finch song. So it really takes, I think, the three of us to collaborate for it to be a Finch song, whatever that is, if it's good or bad.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly at this point, yeah.
Once you've got your kind of demos sorted, how do you take it then from that point to a finished track when you go into the studio?
We've been very lucky to always like have the opportunity to actually record in a studio properly with real drums, real instruments, you know, amps pushing air and everything, which a lot of people don't get to do nowadays, which is, there's no shame in that. I listen to records all the time, and then I'm shocked to find out that it was programmed drums, it was all plugins. But Finch has always been very fortunate to get into a studio and do it for real. You know, the first record we did with Mark Trombino, the second record we self-produced with help from our friends like Jason Cupp, partial help from Mark Trombino, and I plan to do the same. Whenever it comes time that we're going to record, we're going to find the right person, get into some bougie studio in San Diego and hash it out, you know?
Yeah, nice. And I'm sure the people of the world want to see you doing some shows. What's your plan for this year and getting out there on the road?
This year, we're going to do a West Coast tour with our lovely friends in the Starting Line. I'm not sure who else is on it, but it'll be a blast from the past. I think they're doing like an album playthrough, like how a lot of people are doing nowadays. Other than that, I think we're just going to maybe focus on writing, which would be good. I think we need to. We've done the What Is the Bird thing for the last 2 years, so I think if there's ever a good time to do new music, it's going to be right now.
Yeah, nice. And I'm sure you've toured many places of the world by now.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you've not got to yet that you want to go play?
I've not made it to the continent of Africa. So wherever I can go there, whether it's South Africa or
Egypt, do a couple
Egypt
of shows, I think.
or Morocco, yeah, that'd be incredible. I need to tick that box for sure.
Absolutely.
I need to see a bit of the mad world, you know?
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with Finch from Slam Dunk Festival 2025. And talking about festivals, we are going to play you an interview from a few years ago at 2000 Trees Festival. Back in 2019, we went to 2000 Trees to talk to a whole bunch of artists, and one of those bands was who you will know who have been around for a very long time. And we had a little catch up with them to talk about new music and more. So, how are you?
Yeah, very good.
Good.
So, what was your name?
Jim.
Jem.
Good
to meet you, Jim.
That's right. You too. How's things?
Good. Yeah, I think good. We're looking forward to playing. You know,
we're on in about an hour. So
yeah, let's start warming up soon, getting everything in order.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. Like these shows are great for us in terms of primarily just having a date in a diary where we can all get together and see each other, because we used to live and work together 24/7, and now we're off doing our own stuff and have been for a few years. So it's really nice to have a date in a diary that we know we're all going to be at.
Yeah.
And just to hang out and chill and play. I can't believe I used the word chill. Sorry about that. And play a show at the end of the day as well, which is great.
Yeah.
So and play the songs again. It's always good fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's been a very long time since new music came out. So how is at the moment as a band? Is it kind of one-off spot gigs and shows here and there, or is it coming back and going to be a bit more?
We've got a
full on
20th
again?
anniversary of Monkey Kong tour coming up in November, starting on the 20th
20th of November.
at
Where's
Bristol,
that? Bristol, Fleece and Firkin.
and going through till the 29th at London Garage.
Correct.
Yeah, and there's a couple of new tracks maybe that will be ready. We're working on them. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
We've also got to work on Monkey Kong itself as an
Yeah,
album to
play
play.
the album.
As we're playing all of it, there are some songs on that record that we've literally never ever played.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. But it'll be great. I mean, we'll get there, won't we?
Yeah, but
But
interesting.
we've got
good word.
interesting. There's some bits of equipment we've got to try and track down, like the vocoder for certain songs and things. From my point of view, I'll figure out another way of doing it, but it'll come together. It'll be great. Some belter songs on that record.
Yeah. Gonna be all good.
Good. Excellent. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned new music. Is this the sign of things to come?
I don't
Or
know.
is
We're
it-
working on a couple of new tracks,
Yeah.
and all being well, if they come out as we hope, as well as we hope they will, then who knows? Yeah, it's kind of no grand plan as such.
Yeah.
But while gigs like this come along and tours get offered, it'd be nice to work on at least a couple of new tracks. And just kind of see how it unfolds, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the idea, because again, getting together is with everyone's busy lives is the
Yeah.
tough bit. So I think we'll get this Monkey Kong tour done and dusted, and then I think the next stage then we'll try and carve out some time to get
Be
these
something.
songs in order, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. So going back to the heyday of you guys, how was life for you back in kind of the early 2000s, getting top 10 records and things like that?
Busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. It was amazing though. We were riding the request of a wave, weren't we? That
Yeah.
when nothing came out, and we were all over Radio One. And
One beforehand, and then we kind of had that payoff with nothing and a bit of success. It's great, but yeah.
yeah, because we finally got some really good radio play.
Yeah.
I think Nothing was like the most played song on Radio 1 for about 3 months around the time of its release, and we were doing lots of in-stores and signings and in the middle of a tour and, Top of the Pops and things like that. And finally people that were close to us realised we weren't some pub band, and that we're actually, we're on Top of the Pops doing it for a living and what have you, and taking helicopters from Top of the Pops down to gigs that Mark flew.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. So that was kind of the time of our lives, really. It's amazing. And then the tours after that, and getting some really good slots on festivals and main stages and stuff as well.
Yeah.
It was just magic. Yeah, it's really good.
And what was it like at the end of kind of the main period when you did split and you all went off and doing your own things? Did you all kind of cope and kind of that's what you wanted to do, or was there always a...
I think it was kind of a bit unfinished, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we were forced into that position in a way. And everyone, like, for 5 or 6 years just got on with whatever. And then, then the offer of a little tour, like a support tour with Wild Hearts or Bowling for Soup, or these bits and bobs came in. And once we got together, it was just the same as it was again.
Yeah.
And getting out and playing the gigs. So it sort of, I think we all kind of knew it wasn't the end, We never made a big thing about it being the last gig ever. It was like, right, we're going to go away for a bit and then see what happens.
Yeah, none of us wanted it to finish, I would say. It wasn't like there was any big bust up or anything. We've always been really good mates. And,
And we were doing like 200 gigs a year at that time, and I think we needed a break.
Yeah.
And boy, did we have one.
Been a long break.
No, so, days like this, coming to here and doing these sort of gigs is great. Like Giles said, meet up again. And, and we had a Hi-Fi Series tour last year, and we did the independent venue tour. And all these little bits and pieces, it's as good as it's ever been, for us anyway.
I would say it's easier. Because we just haven't got any... Just even
No
if there is
pressure
pressure,
at all.
we're not allowing it to even get to us at all, and not a second thought getting on and playing. give us any stage, we'll walk out and play on it without even worrying about it. Don't even need to rehearse. It's all in the fingers so well. Having said that, I've spoken a bit too soon about this afternoon. Might be terrible. I don't think it's going to be.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see.
You will.
Yeah.
You'll be at the receiving end of it.
You're going to get it.
Great. I'm the only one who's going to stand out in the crowd as well.
we'll be able to
looking
spot
at you going, told you.
We'll be able to make sure you're there.
Yeah. And there's still the core four of you. You've got Dougie in there now playing the bass. What's it? And you've kind of rotated around that bass part as well. So how's it for Dougie and the previous members who have kind of stepped in?
Before every tour, we always, there's always a text or something to Dan to see if he's interested again, and obviously he's busy doing what he's doing, so it's kind of, we're in a situation where you think, right, now we've got to look for someone else. And Dougie came along just at the right time for those tours he's helped with and stuff. He just injected this real, enthusiasm into the band, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's been brilliant.
The youthfulness.
Yeah, it's just been a really good laugh, and finding someone that's going to be a good fit with the four of us, it can be tricky. But he's, Doug's the same wavelength, same sense of humour, an amazing bass player. I mean, genuinely, really, really talented bass player. So that's taken all of the kind of worry out of it for us in terms of knowing that the songs are going to sound good. You don't even have to think about it. He's totally locked in with Adam on the drums, and that's, bass and drums is a key thing, sort of foundations of the band. And then you layer the axe work of this young man on top.
Look out!
And then you're off, And so we don't even have to worry about the songs not playing. It's just easy, which is great. And luckily enough for me in particular, it's all come flooding back. Because rehearsals for me have been few and far between. So,
Good. I guess that's a good thing about doing it. One question, because I hear your music still being played on the radio today. Do you listen to the radio yourself, and then all of a sudden one of your tracks come on like nothing and things like that?
I never really listen. I never listen to the radio now. No, I don't.
It happens every now and again. It's always a delight when it does. It's like, turn around to the kids, and they know anyway because they know the songs. But so it's always fun when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. And looking to 2020, are you hoping to maybe venture a bit further afield again and going back to Europe and to America and things?
It'd be nice, but again, it's diaries and all of that. We'll just have to see what happens and what offers we get from various parts of the world. Because we'll consider anything. If there was a week of touring in Germany, if they wanted us over there and everyone could fit it in, then we'd go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Excellent.
We had some great times in Germany, didn't we?
Yeah, it was mental, wasn't it?
So good things.
Yeah.
But do you want to take it anywhere that you haven't been before? I'm sure you've toured a lot of places, but
you've been to most places, haven't you?
Yeah,
there's a lot, and there are a lot of markets now where bands just kind of had no idea there was, this huge fan base. So I don't know really.
Mark, the world's your oyster, Mark.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm off.
So Mark will be there.
And I hope you enjoyed the interview there with the band A from 2000 Trees Festival 2019. And that's the end of the show for another week, I am afraid. But don't you worry, we will be back next week with more interviews and more great stuff. But if you can't wait until then, social media at The Sound Lab, yes, on all the socials. And check out the website, thesoundlabuk.co.uk. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Interviews Unedited. Goodbye.